So heavily laden here. I've got 10 bottles of Newcastle Brown in the rucksack and all this foodstuffs, and I've been partially strangled by this around the neck, and I've got a mile to walk, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And you see, there was an opportunity whereby I could have had my daughter's car, perfectly fine little run around, but I asked myself, and I'm like, what do I want a car for? At the very most, I would enjoy it because it enabled me to travel 20 miles to my favourite national parks, which I don't get to go to without transport. But that's the only sacrifice I make. All the other facets of having a car would be a detriment to me, because I wouldn't be walking in rain, sleet, Fronsnost. Fronsnost, people. Yeah, you know, it's the time of year for Fronsnost. Yeah, I wouldn't be walking in all weathers. I wouldn't be getting the exercise. I wouldn't be keeping in touch with my own personal discipline of the soldier mentality, and I wouldn't be getting out, looking at the world and hearing the birds and seeing the seasons subtly change. I'd be missing all that in a fucking tin can on wheels, and you don't know what's happening anymore. And so I will probably never ever drive again. I like to be close to the ground, and that way, in the summertime, you guys know, or in springtime or autumn, I will always be on the lookout for wild foods and fungi and all those sort of things. And so I'm always stopping and observing, and I get to see squirrels graze, and I get to talk with the squirrels and the birds and all these sort of things, and it's wonderful. And there's so many positives against the negatives of just being a lazy fat ass twat getting in your car and going to the fucking supermarket and back. So some things you need to think about, people. Now, the whole ethos of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life is make your fucking bed. Idiots, make your fucking bed every morning. You see, it sounds very rudimentary, it sounds very silly, and it doesn't sound like a big deal. But like Peterson says, it's a very, very, very big deal. And for those of you that have been in the army, you'll know, or any of the forces, Navy, it's the same, you will know what a big deal making your own bed is. And I'm going to walk this way for a change, away from the busy road, through this quiet little housing estate. So, in the army, making your own bed, presenting yourself impeccable, is very, very important to the attention to detail, because then it extends to everything else. It extends to everything you organise. It extends to men's lives depending on you. And cleaning your weapon and making sure that you've got all the spares and you've got everything you need is absolutely imperative to being a good person, being a competent person. How many people these days, since the advent of national service, compulsory military service is no longer, the world has fallen apart, and you've got these dipshit fucking students that just fucking grow fat and spotty, and the rooms stink. They never make the bed, they never fucking even iron their own clothes or do anything like that because they still live with fucking mum. And if they never have the initial discipline early in life, they'll be failed species. And it's absolutely the case that you will be a failed person, because even if you say to yourself that you're successful and you've managed to get lots of other people to do that sort of minutiae for you, well, you're still a failed person because you can't do it yourself. You need everybody else to wipe your own arse. You see, look, people, if you can't be bothered every single morning as soon as you get out of bed to make your bed, and it doesn't have to be that difficult, you get one of these tailor fitted sheets so it doesn't all fucking roosh up and come untucked and this and the other. Who has the regular sheets these days? We all have tailor fitted sheets, don't we? The old Brentford nylon tailor fucking sheets. They've got the corners elasticated. You stick them around the edge of the mattress and they'll never come off. And then you just have a duvet. Where's the big deal? You just fucking fold the duvet back and make it look presentable and you air the bed. If you can't do that, then, like Peterson says, you are not going to be able to tidy up your sock drawer. You're not going to be able to put all the odd ones out and all the ones with holes in, throw them out, and you're not going to know how many pairs of socks you've got, and there's so many things that you're just not going to be able to do. And if you don't make your bed, and if you don't tidy up your sock drawer, then you don't clean your room, then you don't organise yourself, you don't organise your toolbox, you don't organise the kitchen, you don't clean the skids from the fucking toilet, you don't wipe the piss off the fucking toilet lid, you don't replace the fucking toilet paper in the toilet holder, and there is a billion things that you just don't do because you haven't had that level of conditioning and attention to detail and self-asserted concentration on personal discipline. If you haven't had that, you are a failed species, a failed motherfucker. And lots of you going to be watching these videos, you're those sort of people. And you look around your house and you look at the thick fucking layer of dust on the skirting boards and all the balls of hair, under the sofa or in the fucking corner, or probably just in plain sight, all over the fucking place. You look at your filthy bathrooms and all the rest of it. You've seen my house. Any of you that's even remotely long term, you can see from just a cooking bloke video my immaculate attention to detail and cleanliness and orderliness, because you can't run a fucking ship without it. You can't run a business without it. You can't run a family without it, because it's like, oh, Mum, where's my socks? Where's my underpants? Or when some cunt takes the towel out of the bathroom and then throws it on the bedroom fucking floor, and then you go and get in the bath without checking, and you get out of the bath and there's no fucking towel. Oh, it's just sickening. It's pathetic and it's unnecessary. But how many of you have got kids like that and you don't discipline them into all these things? Now, fortunately for me, I grew up in an army camp. I grew up with an old man who had a very high IQ, always owned and ran his own businesses with the greatest attention to detail, and he passed that on to us in every single facet of our lives. And this is why, as kids, every single one of us kids, as soon as we got to an able-bodied age, we would have chores to do. But because we did the chores, we would get paid. And so it wasn't like we just had to do the fucking chores, because, it's a big family and all that. It was a big family, and we did need to muck in, but we got compensated for it in another area, and we got paid well. Now, the thing is about my old man, we had pocket money. In the very, very early days, I'm talking about mid-70s, people, we had pocket money. And at the time, I got £2.50 pocket money. This is in fucking 1975 or some fucking thing like that. And we, in our family, were the only ones to have regular pocket money. The other kids would get given 50 pence now and again, this, that and the other, but they would never have a dependable amount of money which they could collect from their parents come Saturday morning when it was the weekend. And every springtime and every summer and every fall, we would have a winter clothing allowance, whereby the stepmother would take us into town to buy all the things that we needed. And we would have an allowance of money to buy things that we didn't need, the hoodie or the fucking baseball boots, or the fucking certain style of jeans, or this and the other. So we'd have all that, but we had to be respectful, honest in the family, and we'd have to adhere to the rules and regulations, which if you have 11 brothers and sisters, people, and you're going to run a tight ship, and you're going to respect each other, and everything's going to be clean and perfect and organised, then it's going to have to be run by an army camp. It was. And so I fully immersed myself into that. However, my elder brother and second eldest sister didn't. My first eldest sister, she took it on board partially. But in her house, you open the crockery drawer, like where you got all utensils, all your stainless steel utensils and all that sort of thing, and your cutlery. Well, there's no like knives and forks and spoons and little spoons. No, it's all in one drawer. And I'm like, how much of an effort would it be just to buy a tray with the selected allocations for knives, for forks and spoons, so then when you use them and you put them back, they're there and they're very easily accessible. But no, you open her drawers and most of the time you can't open them because there's always something jamming, because they're all chock-a-block full with potato mashers and all that different sorts of stuff, and there's no real place to put sharp knives, and so you can end up fucking cutting your finger off looking for something else. And the ironing pile is always always a fucking mass, and it's always something that she's going to eventually get round to doing. And when she eventually gets round to washing the pots, which is like after 2 fucking days or something like that, when there's no pots, clean pots left, then she'll wash them up and put them on the dryer, but she'll never dry them and put them away. And so, because her head isn't like that, her head isn't given to details because it's too distracted in the horror show. And so my brother, my eldest brother, lives in an absolute fucking shithole, an absolute squalor, with the same carpet he's had for 40 fucking years, and he doesn't take his shoes off when he enters his house. So can you imagine, after 40 years, what the carpet's like, people? What the whole house is like, and the kitchen's the same, and the old settee's the same, and it's just one of the worst houses I've ever been into. And I was a furniture remover. I had a business of moving people's homes and all their furniture, and I, entered about 1,000 homes over a 10-year period, and I knew the intricacies of how all these people lived, and very, very seldom would I come upon a person which was as dirty as him. And so now it's kind of like organising. I was the one that took this disciplinary thing on, the organising thing on the most. Doubtless because I was most suited to it with my personality. Because it's about personality traits, people. It's about what fucking star sign you was born under. It's about where the fucking moon and Mars was when you was fucking squirted out your old woman's twat. As fucked up as it sounds, that's what it's about. Where was the fucking sun when you were born? Where was the moon? Where was Venus? Where was Uranus when you was plopped out? These things, as fucking bizarre as it sounds, play a very, very powerful and subliminal, invisible part in our lives. But when you learn about personality traits, and you learn about astrology, there's a lot of truth in personality traits, isn't there? I'm pretty well a classic Libra in lots of respects. So, if we don't have this initial conditioning of discipline and respect when we're young, we're pretty fucked. Because we will never give that to anybody else. If we borrow someone's stuff, then the chances are we won't give it back on time, or if ever. We won't give it back washed or ironed if it's a garment. If it's a tool, we'll probably give it back broken, and all these sorts of things. Every single thing about being undisciplined and unregimented is wrong. And this is one of the things that modern society has to contend with, because all we've got, when most people these days are taking the easy option because they don't want to work, so they go to college so they can still live with their mums longer, then they go to university so they can probably still live with their mums, or they can live in a house where they can get away with being a slovenly, dirty bastard, And then they go out into the big world, and then they don't know how to cook and wash and clean and present themselves. They don't know how to build a home. They don't know how to do a bit of decorating or fucking get your life in order by, you know, getting the clothes rack and putting all your clothes on there, all fucking washed and pressed, and everything piled up like your underpants and t-shirts, so you know what you've got and where they are. All this sort of thing. They don't know how to live like that. And if you don't know how to do that, then you can imagine that it doesn't take too much of imagination just to see how that permeates your whole life. And so then you won't be good at keeping time because you don't think it's important, because you're not regimented, you don't know how to do it. And if you don't keep time, then you disrespect people, you annoy people, people lose faith in you, and they never bother to suggest a meeting with you again because they know you're not going to be on time. And if you're not on time, then they feel smited, and so they think, fuck it, they're not going to be on time either. And it all falls down, people. It all falls down. And so how many of you, upon reflection, how many of you have read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life? I haven't, but I've listened to him speaking about it chapter for chapter in one of his lecture series. So how many of you have listened to that or read that? How many of you have a disciplined outlook on life? You have respect, you have timekeeping, you have efficiency, you have cleanliness, you have orderliness, you have all these qualities. It's very, very important to have these qualities, because if you've got these qualities, then they are they're your staple, they're your rock, they're fundamental to you. And if they are second nature, you don't ever have to think about them. You don't ever have to do anything extra or out of the ordinary, because that's your default setting. Every single morning without fail, I get out of bed, I make the fucking bed. And then I go and put the kettle on, and I prepare my drink, and then I'm preparing my pills and potions, and then I'm preparing my evening meal, and then I'm having a wash, and I'm presenting myself, and getting everything clean and organised. And today I thought about it before I even came shopping. I thought, well, you know, no wonder the world is in a mess also, because people don't have the time. You know, and if I was up at 7 o'clock because I had to be on the bus or in traffic at 8 o'clock and I had to be somewhere for 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, then my whole life would be a fucking rush and a mess. And there'd be so many things that I would have to neglect. And then when I finished work at 5 o'clock and I got to travel an hour and a half back, and then I get into the house, oh goodness, I've not got no fucking meat, I've not got no vegetables, I've not got no this. Then you got to go out back to the shop again. It could be a mile or two away. You got to do all this fucking stuff, and then you come back, and then you pay food, and by the time you've done this and you had a shower and you've sat down in front of the computer to look at something for 20 fucking minutes, you're fucked and you've got to go to bed again. Hell, that's what hell is, people. That's a very good scenario of a shit life, and all you're doing is paying the bills. And okay, you see some people, they get a bigger house and a bigger house and they get a better car, but what are they doing? The lifestyle doesn't change. They are in the fucking rat race, they are fucking prisoners, and they've been doing it for so long, they're just automaton, and they don't know any other life, and the highlight of their life is to have a 2-week fucking holiday somewhere. And they accept that as that's life, and then you die. You know, no, 15 years ago I decided that I don't want to play that game anymore. I want every single minute of my life to be about me, and it is. And even if I want to include other people into it, it's still about me, because I want it. I'm not forced into it. And like I say with my sister, she comes around knocking on the door, that's an imposition, that's an affront. I don't like that, I don't want it in my life, and now I've put my foot down and I'm not going to have it. I'm done with that fucking bullshit. No value there at all, no value. And also I've got a lady friend who I've had, we've spoken together, we've been, friends for many years, platonic relationship. And at recent times, I'm helping her out with stuff and I get more texts. And yesterday I got 25 texts. And I don't know, she might even watch this video, but it's not something I've not mentioned. I don't want 25 texts in a fucking day. I don't want 5 texts in a day. I don't want 1 fucking text in a day. And so I have to be very careful and I have to manage my life. And if you're not going to have fucking texts from people, they're not going to have this level of communication with you, the chances are you're not going to have any friends. And I'm like, fine. Because if our friendship depends on you sending me fucking texts, I don't want it. I really don't want it. My idea of a friendship is someone that would text once just to say, do you want to meet up, so. And then I'd text back once and say yes. And then we'd do it. That's my idea of a friendship. So you have 1 text and then 1 meeting. I don't need 50 fucking texts or 150 texts and 1 meeting. That's not how I work with friends. So people, tidy up your fucking sock drawer. But if you never tidied up your sock drawer when you was younger, you're fucked. It's too late. Because you've missed that opportunity of being fresh and carte blanche, being an open slate. That's why National Service grabbed hold of everybody at fucking like 17 years old. They'd like to do it earlier, but it's not legal. But at least 17 you're still mouldable, and if you go on a fucking crash course like 2 years National Service, then the chances are that that's going to override most of the shit that you had before. And if it doesn't override and your natural disposition comes forward in later years, at least you know what's available to you. At least you know you can do it. And if you have any personal integrity, you would do it. You'd make your bed and clean up your fucking sock room. And then you clean your toothbrush and you clean the toilet and you scrub the fucking shower or the bath and you polish your shoes and everything. It just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? And so, in my life, all that stuff takes a long time. Washing your clothes, folding your clothes and putting them away, cleaning the fucking floor, dusting the top of the skirting boards or anywhere else that gathers dust over time, pulling the old dead leaf from your plants. Every time I'm in the shower and I finish the shower, I'm fucking showering the whole thing down. Because any soap residue which is splashed onto the shower tiles dries and it becomes sticky and hardened over time. But if you shower it down, then you reduce that happening. So you don't have to clean the shower as often as you would if you didn't do that. So I'm cleaning the shower without scrubbing it down every single time I use it. Then I only have to do it top to bottom, say like once a fortnight, just to polish up the tiles again and take off that dullness of the soap residue, which stops your tiles shining and stops the chrome shining. So there's a whole billion things that I do in my life. And it's just like now, I've walked to the supermarket. Well, it took me a fucking hour's round trip, an hour out my leisurely life. How could I possibly do this if I was working 8 hours a day and 10 hours a day and I was commuting and doing all this different sorts of stuff? And I'd be coming back in the dark and thinking, fuck, I can't go to the fucking supermarket in the fucking dark. And there'd be so many things. I'd be so limited, wouldn't I? But as it happens, I'm not limited. The world is my oyster. And so this is why I enjoy every single second of my life, because it's all about me. Is your life all about you? When's it going to be about you? And, it can be about your partner if you want it to. But if it's forced on you, then it's not, is it? If your partner's like, are you going to do this? Are you going to take the car for no? Are you going to wash the car? Are you going to mend this fucking shelf? Are you going to... No, it's not all about you then, is it? It's about her or him. Fucking always bossing you and manipulating, just doing this, that and the other. When you've got other things that you prefer to do. And so when it's all about you, it's when you do these things, but you do them because you want to.